So I watched this TV show on Netflix, this brand new one. It's called Baby Reindeer.
Oh, I've heard about this. I've been reading about it, actually.
It's bloody brilliant, yeah. I thought it was great. It's by this guy called Richard Gadd, although he changes everyone's names in it, but it's allegedly based on a true story. I was going to say this earlier when you mentioned another film where it's like how much of this is based on
Tokyo Vice.
Tokyo Vice, that's it. Well, this one, they say it's based on a true story, but you never know just how much of it is true and how much of it is fabricated. But it is pretty brutal. It's about his real life experience getting stalked by a woman. But it opens up doors to his past where he was sexually assaulted by like a studio exec or a writer. I forget now what it was. And yeah, it's fucking brutal. And it's based on, like I say, apparently it really all happened, but he'd done 2 one-man shows in Edinburgh Fringe Fest. And the show is based on those 2 one-man shows.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty good. Like, all the acting in it's pretty good. The girl who plays the stalker, forget her name, but she's very, very good. Terrifying. She, honestly, like, she was giving me that Kathy Bates in Misery vibe. She was really, really good. If it were a movie, she would have been up for an Oscar. She was really good in it. I actually quite like the main guy, because like a lot of he's a stand-up comedian, and a lot of the jokes that he uses in it, these are all the jokes that he used when he was younger, and this was all really happening. And he honestly shows it in the show as no one laughed at these jokes. No one found it funny. And yeah, he really struggled. So then when this producer, writer guy came into his life, like, he was really hoping that like fame and fortune were coming. But this guy just took advantage of him and all this. But it's interesting because no one is like cut and dry in it. Like, he doesn't play the victim in it. And he could very easily play the victim in it. But he does show like, okay, she might come across as absolutely like out of line and crazy, but like she's also been through shit. Like, it's not cut and dry. If you look at her life, you will find something where you're like, oh shit, this is why, and poor you. So don't, it's not. And then he's very much like, okay, I did lead her on, I did this, like, I can't just sit here and like be the victim. I also contributed in a lot of ways. And then when he gets assaulted sexually, when he gets like, it's pretty brutal. The episode that it happens, they put a warning up because it is pretty violent and it is pretty graphic. But when he finally talks about it, he does say like, I could, yeah, okay, I was a victim, but I couldn't call myself a victim. The many times I went back in the hopes that it would lead to something good, that I would get that fame and all that. And he's like, so can I really call myself a victim when I keep going back? Sort of thing. So he really explores how he has dealt with all of this trauma in his life. And I have to say, if this is all true, it's incredibly brave. Because he plays himself in it as well.
Yeah, I heard.
So yeah, like, if this is true, because this is the only thing I have with it. They're claiming that all of this really happened. And if that's the case, it's like, what a great piece of art. However, if you are fabricating it but claiming it all really happened, that becomes a bit like, well, it's not brave at all then. You know, it's still very good though. It is made very well. It's shot great. I think, like I say, I like how he doesn't have completely good people, completely good characters, and completely bad characters. Characters that are mental, you sympathize with, and he's the main character, and he is incredibly flawed. So, you know, I really like how the characters are presented. I think it's a well-told story. I just hope it is as true as he says it is, because if it is fabricated, I'll feel lied to.
I did read that he's been telling people not to look up the people that it could be based off of.
Yeah, well, because
yeah.
people have been already. Apparently, the girl that it's based off, like, she's been tweeting because apparently she is a lot like the girl from the show, and she's been tweeting, and like, so basically everyone knows who she is, because the moment the show came out, she started, you know, saying stuff online. But it's very good. I'll tell you this. This is one of the things I found most interesting about the show, is after the sexual assault, he starts experimenting with homosexuality or bisexuality, and he gets into a relationship with a transitioning woman. And like, he talks about like what really fucked him up the most. He's never going to be sure, were these feelings always dormant within him, or is he only having these feelings because of what happened to him? Really, really interesting direction to look at the characters. Because normally these things are very cut and dry in TV and movies. When these things happen to you, it's, you know, it's very rare that they're gonna go in a direction like this. And it is very, very interesting how they portray it. But again, I think it does feel very honest. It does feel honest.
I need to watch it.
Yeah. And they do really abruptly end it as well. And people have been.
There won't be more.
I don't think they should do more. I think they should end it where they end it. But where they end it, it's like, oh, you were hoping for like another scene or something.
Yeah. Cool, man. That's a really, I've been reading about this show. I haven't watched it yet. I don't have Netflix. Maybe I need to get Netflix again.
Shrapnel.